What's going on? Hello, people. Whether you are a sailor, whether you are not a sailor, am I even using that? Are clones of. Nope. We are not using. Oops. Not using it. We're not using it. Get primary clone ID. Oh, let's see who's calling this before we. Get clones of. Okay, so nobody calls. Oh no, they do. It's just this. Okay. Okay. So what I'm doing is I'm just moving. We had in our notes from all that turn order ID was on entity and that was wasting memory and we should put it on guy. So I'm doing that right now. And so there's code that just checks it on entity, even though it could only ever be set on guy. So I'm doing that. So we're just special casing, like, okay, if it's not a guy, it doesn't have clones, I guess. So we can't really clone blocks and stuff. Interesting question about whether I mean, you can clone blocks. Should we track separate blocks in terms of being able to merge them? I don't know, man. Is this a mistake? You know what? I'm not sure if we want to do this. So, but then, no, it's okay. Because if we want this on blocks, we could also say that blocks have a turn order ID. So this is good. This is fine. Okay, so we're going to get clones. Oh, that's just that. That loop seems like it could be better, but whatever. I wonder how many of these am I going to have to change. The things I do to save memory. Okay, well, we actually compiled after that, so that's good. No, wait, what? I messed something up. I messed something up in my versioning. Or the save load system is not handling. Okay. I raised this to 17, right? Right. I did. So, what did I get wrong? What did I do? What did I screw up? Save. We're asserting, trying to load an item. What file is this? That's going to be the file revision number. These numbers seem backwards to me. Okay, wait, what? Version. Okay, hold on. Back up the bus. Okay, wait, we finished. So what happened, one thing that I did a few weeks ago was I changed around some of this iteration code, and apparently I made a mistake back then that we didn't notice because everything was updated to the newest revision number, and now it's not. Like this doesn't... So this version, so I guess it's confusing because I think the file version number is 17, which is the same number also that I just updated the entity version to. So let's, yeah. So that's also confusing. Except, wait. Why is... Okay, this is just wrong. Like, what? I don't understand this. This should just be there. This if statement should not be here. Is this the first file? Can I just break there and step through it? No. Let's see what this file is. 1651. Oh, it's in-game particles. Why? All right. I don't know why. Okay. It's a version 15 guy. And the place where we got upset, did we hit the end of the file? Wait. We have the turn order ID. Wait, no, it's a version 11 guy. Right? Okay, this is the entity version, subclass version, right? So it should be 11. So it's a level 11 guy. This is 13. Turn order ID. Oh, I capitalized my V. You know what? We should print a real big error if we don't understand one of these tags, but we don't do that right now. That was 8 minutes of debugging that I should have been spared, at least. Great. How does a game engine usually save the world scene, all world models, textures, etc.? In which format? Something like JSON files? No. Lua scripts? No. Both of those things are massively too inefficient. So the thing is, they don't store all those things. Like textures are going to be stored. The texture data will be stored in one place, and the texture assignments to various parts of a mesh will be stored in the mesh file, for example. But no, most games use their own custom format for saving world data because it's important And you don't want things that are important to be like fucking JSON. We're working on clone push non-infinite strength. No, that got fixed last night. Entity versions are used for backward compatibility. Yeah, we don't tend to change them very much after we ship, but it does happen. We certainly did that on the Witness a couple times. Yeah, a lot of these animations are temporary. Do I think OO concepts are generally overused and make a lot of code unnecessarily complicated? Yes. Yes. Is there a migration that happens of saved data? No, we just use the older version. I mean, well, it depends on what you're talking about. If we resave a new save game for them, then that data will be on the new version. But whatever, like the world data that was saved out will be on the old version. Yeah. Are we using a binary format for saves? Yes. How big are the save files? That is mostly determined by how much undue data is saved in the save files, which depends on how long you played the level. Okay, so that was a little thing that we were going to do that we have done. So let's check that in. From entity to guy. Bam. Okay. I deserve a gummy bear for that. Oh, thanks for teaching me English. Okay. Now, if we are going to saving new movement data in save games, so we want to save out move transaction, which I've handily versioned, even though we're not using that yet. And so that's got an array of single move. Single move has a version and also an embedded struct. So I think, so I could hard code this by hand, where we save all this out except this array, and then we save the array separately. But I want to experiment with making it more automated. So I think that when we make the metadata for this, we're going to notice that this struct has its own version header. And we're just gonna generate that then. It's not totally obvious because we could get in trouble. We could identify it by name, but if somebody else registers a struct of the same name, then we have to report an error, which we could do for now. We could save it by source code location, but then if this is in like a polymorphic thing, that's not good. So, yeah. What do we think about functional programming? We don't really. Okay. I mean, I kind of want to do this, but I kind of don't want to do it. Kind of want to do it, kind of don't want to do it. Not sure. Not sure. Let's try. So the usage code, when I go into when we serialize an undo record, oops, I was right there. We would just save out the move transactions. We would say, we would do it manually, this part manually probably. We could make that a U32 just so it's not so big. I don't know. So we have string with 2-byte count, but not array. Could just do this. I mean, in case of overflow, only write up to count 16 elements. Which is stupid to worry about, but why? We're just being a little more robust, I guess. So, and then how do I serialize something that has a metadata? That's the question. How did I do that before? I did that for visual interpolation. I don't know which file I did it from. So we can go back to October. No. Okay. Can I find a different file? No. All right, this part. Wow, okay, I just... Right. Okay, this is a totally different thing that I actually need to do, though. So this isn't going to help me. All right. Okay, so one thing at a time. Let's get rid of this byte. We'll update our file version. Because we took that byte out to 17. 17 is also going to be the one that has the new data in it. hopefully. Except that we're not saving it yet. Okay, so now we're going to save out the move transactions. Here's the deal. All the code in this code path that's using this metadata struct that we build at startup time based on the data that the programming language gives us, all of that is currently using it in a different way than I want to. It's using it to do the diffing of individual entity slots. And for this move transaction data, I don't want to do that, right? I just want to write it out. And so I kind of don't in this file have a thing that does that. At all. Like at all. And I don't like a thing that, if we had a thing that saves binary entities, which might be like here, we might do that, except that we don't. We only save things as text right now. So yeah. So I guess I just do a thing where I say serialize builder or let's say MT or transaction, because that's what we call it some other times, and come on guys, move transaction metadata, and we're just going to make a new serialized function. Now the reason I'm being so slow about this is it's quite possible that I'm just forgetting something that we have that will do this. Because it does seem kind of redundant with other things that we are doing. So like this entity diff stuff, for example. Let me show you that. Where is it? So we have this entities differ stuff where we iterate over a metadata and call slots differ, right? And slots differ looks at what's the kind of thing. So this says get the pointer to the memory of each slot on the entity. And then what is it? Well, is it a pointer type? Is it just regular data that we could do byte stuff? Is it a string? Is it an array? Etc. And so now it's like, oh, I get to kind of copy this logic a little bit into a parallel structure. Now it's not really a copy, and we don't have to handle even all of those. It's just a little bit weird is all. but I think it's fine. You've seen some of these levels, it might take you more than 65K moves to solve them. No, no, no. See, this number is how many different moves are moving at the same time, which 65K really should not be possible. It really shouldn't. Yeah. Yeah, no, the thing, like 65K total moves would be like the number of undo records in the, or not, I mean, like the number of total moves that you would make in a level would be the number of these undo records. Okay. So okay, so serialize okay. Well, oh, wait. Okay. Okay. So I think I want to go over the leaf items. And we're just going to check these things. We're going to say okay. I'm going to say item.name. Okay. If that, then static if. So this function is made for a compile time type, and we don't know it at compile time right now. So we just need to do this, right? We ensure contiguous space. Memcopy builder dot current buffer dot data occupied, comma slot, comma size. What is slot? Slot is metadata slot of pointer, comma item. Let's make sure that isn't hard-coded for entities. Oh, it is. Blah. Let's say non-entity. I mean, it's a trivial function, so whatever. But this whole metadata system, even going back to like Braid, was hard coded for entities, and now we're trying to generalize it, and it's like, well, yeah, okay. Great. Not handled for non-little endian right now. Let's do it this way. Um, 249. Declared identifier transaction. Okay. Well, we need to handle array. Oh, see, we're not handling revision numbers yet. Oh, I guess we don't. We don't yet. Never mind. If it's an array, then we do some stuff. So this version on the left is comparing two things, and on the right, we just want to write it out. Okay. So if if this is a simple data type, right, we can just mem copy the whole array. We don't have to like recurse and be slow, right? So, except the array might be too big for a string builder. So let's I don't even know what that means, so okay. So we could just call append, because it's going to be big. Instead of direct mem copy, we go append. Oh, we don't even. Oh, okay, yeah. Append builder array.data. Array.count times array.element type dot runtime size, and yeah, I don't know why I put frickin' backwards here, if I indeed did it. Why is that there, dude? Okay. Okay. Let's just make sure that compiles. No, we didn't do that. Element type. That is the wrong thing. It's item.info, or no, TIA.element type. And down here too. Okay. So that compiles. Now, so it could be an array of just regular data, or it could be an array of another struct. In which case, we want to say other metadata is get metadata for struct tia.element type if we don't have that, we're gonna error unable to find metadata for a struct that's in an array in binary serialize. And we just won't write that out. Oh. Item.name. Okay. Otherwise, here's the problem. We're going to start taking inefficiencies here. We're just going to do this for now. So when we save this out, we need to save what version it is somehow. When we do the entity version, or the entity kind of metadata stuff, we sort of save a dictionary because we know what all the entities are. So if we're going to save out a file full of entities, we say, hey, here's what all the entity versions are, right? For this, it's not really the same. I mean, we could do a pre-pass. I don't want to do that right now because I want to get the other stuff working. So what we're going to do is at the top of this serialize function, anytime we save this out, we're going to save the revision number. So when we have an array of like single moves, we're going to save a 2-byte revision number for each element of that array, even though it's going to be redundantly the same every time. And that's going to waste a little bit of time. It's going to waste a little bit of space. But we can fix it in post. Like later on, we'll revise the file format to not require this, and we'll do like a pre-pass or something. It's just, you know, I don't want to get into that level of complication if this doesn't end up working acceptably or something. You know what I'm saying? Seems like a negligible amount of waste. Well, I mean, it depends on what you're storing in the array. And honestly, if I read someone else's file specification and it has something like that, I'm like, oh, they didn't really know what they were doing, right? because these version numbers are going to be the same all the time. Well, you don't necessarily know that from reading the spec. That's more like tacit information. Anyway, Recently heard about the command pattern and how it is so good for turn-based games. Do I use it? No, I don't know what that is. But secondly, here's the thing. Turn-based games are the easiest kind of, Turn-based games are the easiest kind of games. So when anyone ever tells you, oh, this thing is so easy for this easy subproblem, or so good for this easy subproblem, it's like, just ignore them, because easy problems are easy. You don't need to make up new concepts for handling easy problems. You need to make up new concepts for handling hard problems. And why don't they tell you about the hard problems? All right. So I don't know what a command pattern is. I don't want to know what a command pattern is. It doesn't sound interesting to me at all. That didn't sound good. That's there's a little adjustment ratchet on the arms of my chair, and like, I guess it wasn't locked in, so I leaned on it and it like went all the way down. It's an OOP thing. Okay, great. Yeah. It's one of the Gang of Four patterns. Okay, well that's all that I need to know about that, honestly. All right, so we're just gonna okay, so first of all, we never save the number of elements in the array. We're going to save that as 4 bytes here. So I have this little put function that'll do that. So we're going to put builder and array.count. So that's our 64-bit array length. And then down here, we say well, we just recurse somewhat inefficiently, I guess. 0 array count -1 serialize builder other pointer and other metadata. Other pointer is array.data plus it times tia.element type dot runtime size. Okay, so that's all good. Now the problem is we are not saving the version number, and so we have to do that up here, and then I have to explain what's going on. Is it called revision number? Why is this here? Like, what does that have to do with anything? Okay, I guess that's where it ended up in the witness code. And all those note cases are a little bit excessive at this point. Okay, so metadata, revision number. Right now, we save a revision number for every struct that comes into this generic serialized routine, even if it's an element of an array. So if we have an array of 10 thingers, we save out the revision number for thinger 10 times, and they are all the same. To avoid this, we would need a pre-pass similar to what happens for type manifest, but more automated. This might be a good idea, but one thing at a time. For December 2019, bro. Okay. So that's all. So I think that is some approximation of what we need to save out the data. We're not trying to load it yet. Oh no, we forgot something. This. I knew it. I thought of it before it came up. It's December 4th already. I know. Pretty soon when I say it's the year 2020, people aren't going to say, what do you mean? So, I need to do this thing. So this is a whole separate step. So get metadata for struct is not a thing. Okay. We're going to say okay. I'm going to get rid of single move metadata. Remember we did that on stream the other day. We're not going to, well, we're undoing it. And then down here, we're going to, oh, wait. We don't have a scope file. All right. So we're going to say, so this is just going to go for metadata per struct. If it tis is equal to tis, return it dot metadata. Return null. Very easy. Okay. Okay. Now the problem is we never put anything into this array yet. And when do we do that? Well, we would do it at startup. We would do it at startup. And I think we would only do it like we don't want to do this for vector 3s and whatever, I guess. I don't know. This is where it starts to get confusing. The thing that makes me a little bit sad is that I think when it comes to providing a library that serializes and unserializes stuff that people can just randomly use without thinking that hard, I think we can't do it this way. The reason is that, like, asking people to put a revision tag on their structs and revision all their members and stuff is asking probably a little bit much. The problem is, if you don't do that, as far as I can tell, you drop to a hugely less efficient way of serialization where you have to lay out a dictionary of what all the fields are and stuff in the beginning. Which might actually be fine for general stuff. It'll still be way better than JSON or whatever, but it'll be less efficient than what we're doing. But that might be the thing to do. Do I have a program that parses out all those cleanup? Like, why don't you just use a search program for that? Why do I need a separate program? Yeah. I can't believe this stream has only been going for an hour and 10 minutes. Okay, so it's time for me to go to work before too long. So I think what we're going to do is we're going to try to finish the saving part here, right? And then we'll do the loading part like tonight. Maybe not tonight. Soon. Maybe tomorrow morning we'll do the loading part. It'll be pretty easy. The loading part is just this again in the other direction. So what we want to do is we want to somehow make this metadata for this struct, right? So when we do move transaction metadata, we call fill metadata, and we're going to say detect substructs is true, okay? Okay, so I think So I guess we want to do just a substruct by value, which we're not using right now, but we kind of want to do that. Right, so right now we're using, I mean, basically just, oh, so move info is actually a struct by value. We could actually put a version number on move info. And vector 3s are structs that are not tagged. So yeah, there's all sorts of stuff here that's weird. That isn't going to fly for a very easy general purpose use for people. Like if I didn't put a version tag on here and then I decide later that I want to go add one, that seems like a complete disaster. Like I'm not sure how to do that, honestly. So we might have to do a whole different system for people generally, but that's later. For now, we're just making this game. So get a drink. I think actually this is a good point to end the stream and let my subconscious mind think about this. So we've basically done all the saving code except for the part that happens at startup to register these other metadatas. And again, the reason why I'm not just banging it out is I'm starting to think, maybe we want to do this in a different way. I don't think so. I think we're just going to do it the way we're doing it, but you know, I want to give some time for those thoughts to gel. So I think that's where we are at. You just showed up? Well, sorry about that. All right, so thanks for coming by. We're going to continue this possibly this evening, possibly tomorrow morning. It'll be on the VOD if you miss it. And we're going to see how it goes. Thanks, everybody. Short stream today, I guess. That happens sometimes.